This is the Rising Goddess podcast, and I'm your host, Michelle Torrance. This is a space where when we start diving deep, we're talking spiritual, mental, and physical. We're getting real and connecting with ourselves and others in the most intimate ways. We'll be talking all things sacred sexual, relationship building, womb healing, connection, and connecting with and through our bodies, how to use our sexual and sensual energies to create, manifest, and heal our lives in our individual and collective ancient feminine lines, while intertwining our healing and connection with the divine masculine. We'll learn from amazing humans who take time and share their wisdom and sacred healing magic. Rising humans who are here in this world to be healers, teachers, guides, priestesses, warriors, shamans, and all divine sisters and brothers in rising. We'll get witchy, sassy, sexy, and saucy, talking all things that align us with our true nature and authentic selves, creating a community of divine feminine and masculine rising to be a massive part in this shift of world healing. So grab some green juice, light some cannabis, get your blankets, or sit by the fire. Let's rise up together. Catch you on the inside, dolls. Hello, my beautiful rising humans, and welcome to this next episode of Rising Goddess Radio. Today, you're going to listen to a conversation with me and Sabrina, Charron. I'm probably saying it wrong, but she is the founder of Cannabis, Infused Motherhood, and this conversation we are having today is all about cannabis, spirituality, motherhood, and all of it together. And we actually kind of came on the fly with this interview. There was something going on with the time slots and everything, but everything worked out perfectly. Sabrina is awesome. She is fantastic. Like I said, she is the founder of Cannabis Infused Motherhood, which is her blog. She wanted to help break the stigma for cannabis-loving mothers and help gently educate those who may be unaware of how beneficial it is for our bodies, our minds, our soul, and our planet. And in the episode, you'll hear me talk about how I'm going to do another episode on cannabis and all the pros and cons of it. But her blog really goes into deep of that. She's also the mother of an autistic child. And so she has so many wonderful different ideas and ways that she can utilize her cannabis for not only being a productive and supportive and present mother, but being able to help with her anxiety, help with her social anxiety, and insomnia and everything else that can go along with not only being a mother, but a mother of an autistic child. So she wanted to create her blog to really educate parents and just people in general. And, she started off her cannabis use, I think, with a lot of us as a rebellious state or just really kind of using it as an escape. And I understand that. I resonate that so much, especially me with a background in it with my addictions and everything like that. It's addiction running in my family. So like I said, there are pros and cons with cannabis use, but a lot of us, I think, start in our teenage years when we were really just kind of escaping or rebelling against our parents. And so this was really where she started with it. And then she started to research as she grew up, and she started researching so much and learning all the health benefits and how to get it into her hands. So she is really working hard to fight the stigma surrounding cannabis use, especially if you are a mother who wants to use cannabis for your own health issues, or if you're seeking the medicinal properties to help your child. So while there are many who are at least not against it, there are still many who are just not fully supportive of it because they just aren't aware of it. And after a lot of reflection, and as she started growing through and really building her business with her Cannabis Infused Motherhood blog, my goodness, I have like a frog in my throat today. He decided to come out and play. But she started diving into how cannabis and spirituality and the divine feminine can really kind of go all together, and how she was able to utilize cannabis as a way to help her with her spirituality and awakening, and just certain alignments that help her. So this is a great episode. I'm really excited for you to listen to it. So make sure you follow her on her social medias, and then head on over to the Facebook page, over for Rising Goddess Radio Facebook page, and let's continue this conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas and questions, especially if you have questions. So, all right, y'all, go ahead and check it out, and I will catch you on the inside later. All right. Hello, my beautiful humans, and welcome to this next episode of we've changed it. We're Rising Goddess Radio now. It flows really nicely. And so I'll be changing the introduction soon. But today is our first fully announced of Rising Goddess Radio, our shift and our change. And I'm really excited that it's this episode because today we have Sabrina on and we are
Hey.
talking cannabis, we're talking spirituality, we're talking divine feminine. And Sabrina is the founder of Cannabis Infused Motherhood. She has a blog. She sells and connects and helps people heal with their with CBD oils and hemp oils. And so she'll definitely get into all of that as we get into the episode. But Sabrina, thank you for being on with us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Michelle. I'm honored to be here.
Oh my gosh. Sabrina and I met, I don't even remember where we met, but our friendship just blossomed so quickly. And we met online through social media. And I just love everything Sabrina does. I love her stories. I love her family. I love her posts. I love her blogs.
Thank
And
you.
yes, I love it. And so definitely we'll make sure you get all of her following information. But Sabrina, you've heard the podcast. You know what question I'm about to ask you, but I'm just going to love asking it. What do you love about being a human right now in this time and space?
Honestly, I think it is the ability to connect to so many people on social media. That has to be my absolute favorite part of being alive today because you can connect to people you would never meet in your typical life online. And I think that's such a powerful tool to use to get your message out there. So yeah, that's my
Mm.
favorite thing right now.
I love it. And you know what? You're so
Yeah.
right. And it's so true. It really is. And I think I was watching a Marie Forleo episode yesterday with Francesca, and she was talking about social media and how it's such an amazing way tool to really connect with people, but how it can also we can let it override our lives if
Oh,
we
definitely.
don't learn the balance. Oh yeah, no. And I'm going to
Yeah.
have an episode too where I talk about social media addiction and like let me check my phone every 5 seconds. And
Yes. I'm
but
guilty of that actually.
I have a feeling many of us out there are.
Yeah.
But Sabrina, I love that. And first of all, talk to us. Tell us a little bit about who Sabrina is. Who was Sabrina as a younger human? Did an event happen or take place or something shift where you really started diving into the healing aspects of cannabis and spirituality? What brought you to the Sabrina that we're talking to today? Share with us who you are.
Awesome. So when I was a teenager, actually I was 12 years old, so I'm not even a teenager yet. I first came across cannabis and I started using it as a way to kind of escape from reality, a way to rebel against my parents and skipping school and all that stuff. I was just a little rebel. And it wasn't until recently where I had a big aha moment where I connected like my love for spiritual stuff and my love of cannabis. And I'm like, they go hand in hand. I'm like, why aren't I talking about this more? So this was about like, I don't know, me and Michelle had a conversation that actually triggered it. So yeah, that's how the way I'm headed now in my
Mhm.
business and talking about more of the spirituality benefits that cannabis can have for us and like expanding our consciousness and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I definitely agree. I didn't start cannabis use until I was about 16 years old. And, so 12 is seems, I have a 12-year-old son. I'm like, oh, wow, I couldn't even imagine him
Yeah,
using
I
right
was
now.
bad. I was a bad kid.
No, no, you were experiencing the life that you were supposed to experience at that point in
Yes.
time, brought you to who you are today. But,
Hmm.
um, uh, I really remember just kind of being in the closet with it for so long. Just recently, this year is really where over this past year, is when I've become more vocal and come out of the closet with my cannabis use and my activism with it and my belief in the healing aspects and in all different ways, both CBDs and THC had healing aspects.
Hmm.
Um, and so you really inspire me a lot to really just kind of live my authentic life in that area and not live in that reefer madness fear and society conditioning. And so what really kind of turned me on to really following you was your name, Cannabis Infused Motherhood. So can you let us know and share with us like how you decided to come up with that? What direction, why is it important, or do you feel it's important with being a mother, how it's helped you being a mother, or just share with us how you're tying the two together?
Sure. Okay. So there's a big stigma around cannabis itself, but it seems to be even worse for mothers. And that goes with everything we do, right? Every little decision we make is put under the microscope and we're just judged for all our decisions. So I decided Cannabis Infused Motherhood would be a great name to kind of describe why I want to break the stigma, because I'm a mother. I have 2 young boys. I'm actually giving my 4-year-old CBD oil to help with some of his autism symptoms. I also give it to myself, and I've just had a lot of hate for it. So that just fuels my fire to just keep sharing and breaking that stigma. So hopefully one day moms can smoke weed or give CBD or even THC oils to their kids without the judgment from other uneducated people. Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah, I can feel your passion with that. I too have that passion. I feel like there's definitely I feel like I don't even know the word. Maybe you can help me with the word when I describe it, but it's okay for moms to come home from the day or whatever and have wine throughout the day, or even have like little things that hide their wine too. And that is an acceptable societal behavior, that we can drink as much wine as we want and that's okay. But cannabis, which doesn't alter your brain or your thought process nearly as much like alcohol does at all,
Yes.
in fact, I find that it helps me focus, really be in the present moment, and really, just be there where I'm at, with a conscious state of like being able to make decisions and being productive. And so I find that there is it's like, what is that word? I know you're thinking of, the word I'm thinking of.
It'll come to me.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on that particular experience? And I'm not talking shit about people who drink wine. I think that's great. I love a hard apple cider every now and then, and people love
same
wine,
here. A drink's no problem. But right. I just think that it should be as socially acceptable. I don't know if that's the word.
I think that's definitely
it's cannabis use should be like just as socially acceptable as a mom coming like after a long day having a glass of wine. She should be able to take a hit from bong if she wants to without being condemned a bad mother for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. So share with us a little bit. You've been, like you said, you started diving into cannabis and spirituality and consciousness. And I know that there's lots of different ideas out there and different thought processes and beliefs as to whether the use of cannabis does open up conscious thought, or really aligns with spirituality. My personal experience is yes, especially if working through utilizing the plant from a space. I know when I started, it was a rebellious thing. Yes. And then, what I realized as I've grown to it was that it was also healing for, what society would deem me as ADD. The cannabis has helped me with real good focus and being able to complete tasks, or just being able to be in a moment, like I said previously. So I know for me, it's helped me. So what are you finding with your own personal experience with cannabis and your own spiritual journey, and coming into your own rising goddess and your own divine feminine? And what are you finding with your research and all the stuff that you're, with all of this diving into it?
The most interesting thing that I found, and it seems like it was just kind of a reminder, like I kind of already knew this, but I read it in the Cannabis and Spirituality book by Stephen Gray. Mm-hmm. He describes cannabis as an amplifier. So it amplifies your intentions. So when you sit down to smoke your cannabis, be present. It's better to do this by yourself in a quiet space, have sage burning your crystals, whatever makes you feel comfortable.
Right, make it a sacred experience, like everything. Yes. And I'm just going to pause real quick, and
no problem.
I'm sure that you've heard before, and my listeners have heard too. I believe, and this is what I try to focus on daily, that every experience that we have is a spiritual experience. And so just what you're saying right there, just going into your own sacred space, lighting some sage, so you're making it a spiritual experience with the intention of that. So go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, and the herb will actually like amplify whatever intention you have. So back when I was a teenager, my intention was to escape. So that's what the cannabis plant helped me do. So lately I've been sitting down with cannabis by myself. I used to just smoke in social settings and stuff like that. But with sitting with cannabis by myself, setting my intentions, I find that I could be more present. I meditate. It helps me open my mind and relax. It relaxes my body. And just if you set your intentions to heal, it'll help you heal and so on. So I thought that was really interesting, that I read in that book. And it kind of makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because a lot of people use cannabis for so many different ailments. And I guess that's the ailment they're focused on. So, yeah.
Yeah, that really does make sense, especially, because I've been really starting to dive into really learning about the brain and the human body response and the linguistic patterns and stuff like that. And, so it does make sense that, what it amplifies our intention. And and if we utilize the right type of cannabis, I don't think that so many people realize how many different strains of cannabis there are, different
lots.
types of cannabis there. I think I'm going to do an episode just on cannabis.
Awesome.
Yeah, just to kind of go through and describe all of the different experiences and types and healing things, especially RSO, which is huge. I love that it does intensify the intention. And just like you, times when I was doing it just to hide or run away from shit, I would be running away.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I really like that. So I'm definitely going to get that book. If you're curious about that book, I'll drop the name of it in the show episode or the episode notes. Definitely about that. Now, let me ask you, you are the mother of an autistic child. You do have two boys. And how are you finding, I'm sure some nights you'll go for a glass of wine or some alcohol, some nights maybe go for cannabis or who knows, but do you find that there's a difference in your body's response or how you're handling the day, whether you're using your cannabis? And do you find a difference if you are smoking versus using your CBD oil or CBD oils, or what do you find helps you, or not maybe helps you, but I guess assists and aligns you for being the best mother you can to help lead your young human who is extremely attuned to so many different senses?
Oh, wow. That is an awesome question, actually. Because my son's autistic and I have kind of a bit of a social anxiety thing, and we have a lot of appointments and stuff like that and meetings with different therapists. So that sends me into like a big panic attack. So my oils have helped calm me. So I know when we're about to go to an appointment, I will take my oil, or even when we go out to the grocery store, sometimes that could like trigger him and he'll have a meltdown, and that puts me into a meltdown. So the oils have really like helped me cope with that. And at the end of the day, that is usually when I smoke my cannabis, and that is when it's like my self-care at the end of the day. I relax with my cannabis. Sometimes I do it spiritually. Sometimes I just do it just to sit and enjoy my time with my husband after the kids are asleep. Mostly smoking to relax, and lately for spiritual purposes. But yeah, when it comes to autism, and also I give my son the oil as well, and it has made such a difference in him. He's had way more eye contact. He's nonverbal, but he's more sociable. Like he'll come and grab your hand and make you come sit on the floor with him and play, when that was never a thing before. He was always super independent. So I feel like it's opened another level of communication between us. It's just been a crazy experience since introducing cannabis into his life as well.
I love that. I really absolutely love that. And, there's so many mothers out there who have so many different children all along the spectrum. And I love hearing how the CBD oil is really, truly helping him kind of open up maybe a different area, a different pathway that helps him align with himself even more.
Yes, it's been amazing seeing his progress with it. And he's more happy. Like I don't know, I'm gonna cry if I talk too much about it, but yeah, he's been such a happier kid, and when he's happier, the whole house is happier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
eased our minds a lot.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to touch on just a little bit about RSO, and I'll go into that in detail in my other episode when I go on the cannabis episode. But have you done any research at all about RSO or a form of RSO? And if you're not familiar with RSO is Rick Simpson oil.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Right. No, and I'm
Yeah.
for our listeners out there.
Oh, yes.
Who may not be. Yeah, for sure. Rick Simpson oil. Rick Simpson is the creator of this intense healing oil. It's really the cancer killer. And again, I'll go into this. I feel like we can go into hours about cannabis talk and THC and how THC really is the cancer killer. But have you done any research on RSO or a form of RSO or THC oils that might actually help or contribute to either aligning or being able to allow an autistic person to kind of open up another neural pathway for communication? Have you done any research on that at all?
I have been doing some research, and the only thing stopping me right now from making my own, because if I do want to get the Rick Simpson oil, I want to cultivate it myself and make my own oils.
Yeah.
And at the moment, we are not allowed to grow plants. But in Canada, I think by October, we'll be allowed to have 4 plants. So I think once it's legalized here, I'm going to really dive into that more and try and make some for him. And for myself. I mean, it's a great oil for everybody.
Yeah, just to have for the family prevention and everything.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. And I'd love to, definitely, and for everybody who starts following her, we'd love to kind of keep up and see how that goes and that journey and whatever research that you might have. And for those of you out there who have been cannabis activists and you're listening to this episode and you've done research on whether THC or CBD in autistic humans, how that might help or children, if that affects certain things differently than adults, definitely have this conversation, contribute, we'll continue it on the Rising Goddess Facebook page. So this is just really interesting to me. And I just really love your desire to just keep learning about it and keep speaking out loud about it. And, that's really inspiring for me because I've been in the closet for 22 years, for smoking. And it's still something to kind of get used to, especially with it being so open now.
Yes. I just started being a little more open about my smoking cannabis. I was always open about taking the oils and stuff like that. But I recently got my medical cannabis license. So now I feel protected so that I can share and not fear of Children's Aid coming to my house or something like that. At least my butt is covered. So
and that's something
so
that
I feel more
definitely
comfortable.
And that's something to kind of tap into because again, for our listeners, I mean, her blog is, where her whole, brand is Cannabis Infused Motherhood. And what is so important is I watch Viceland a lot, and they have Weed Kit, which is a show on there.
Love that.
Yeah. And I watched that a lot. And, there's a family that was making oil to help save children. And, they would get in trouble. And yet there's so many, people out there who are doing so much more that are harming people when, cannabis is used really truly for healing in whatever purposes. And I mean, we're not responsible for whoever uses it, what they use it for. Right. So, so I'm loving this conversation. I feel like I'm talking way too much.
That's okay.
So let's share, first of all, what are you working on right now? What is a passion project that you are working on? How can people reach you? How can people kind of get to know you and even possibly work with you? What are you able to help people with?
Well, I have a bunch of things on the go right now, actually. So obviously my blog, I share a lot about what it's like to be an autism mom, the different benefits of cannabis, CBD, etc. I've been diving more into the spiritual aspects and writing about that. Actually, I have a blog post coming out today Sorry if you could hear my kid.
That's
I
okay.
have a blog post coming out later today about, I'm just going to be talking about like what the world would look like if cannabis was never prohibited.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I feel like cannabis prohibition kind of was the prohibition of the divine feminine. It
Mm.
happened at the same time because the plant is such like a nurturing, mothering, healing plant that could heal not only us but the planet. It's so good for the soil and for agriculture, for different fuels and stuff like that, for your nutrition.
Oh.
I mean, it's good for everything. And
Yes, I love that connection. I can't wait to read
yes.
that. That's really a great perspective.
Mhm.
Wow, go ahead, keep going. I'm just like, yes, yes.
That's okay. Yeah, and because we live in such like a perverted masculine world where we're just consuming everything we eat is synthetic, and all our pharmaceuticals are just causing more problems than they're solving. I think cannabis could help bring us back to a more balanced world, like in the grand scheme of things, and it can also lift our consciousness. So I think we're headed in the right direction with all the states starting to legalize it and Canada starting to legalize it. We're moving in the right direction, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that this has definitely been something that it has been in the works for so long, and jumping into it now while it is in the legalizing phase where we can really tap into it and see what the plant can. And I really love that, you know, it is a resurgence of the divine feminine, because we all know that for a while she has been rising. She's here now.
Yes.
And so the emergence or the resurgence of cannabis, the uses of it, that really ties into that. And I love that, because the plant is nurturing, right? It is a nurturing plant. It heals, it
Mm-hmm.
comforts, it has so many different uses, it contributes, it adds value in so many different ways. Um, and you can see where the patriarchal and the toxic masculinity is trying to hold on to that by trying to keep it like illegal, or raising it to a level class 2 drug or something. um,
Exactly. Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's really such an interesting wow. So I can't wait to see your blog. I can't wait to dive more into what you continue to research and find out, and really bring to the world what you are bringing in. A rising goddess is really all about contributing and adding value, and allowing and holding space, and showing other goddesses how they can find and tap into their own rising energy. And so I'm super excited for you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, I'm excited too. I mean, who knows what's going to come of this, right? Like, I'm just having so much fun sharing and helping people, and that's just really what it's all about for me. Just if I can help one more person have a good day because of cannabis, well, that's my job is done. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, I love that. Absolutely. And that's it's really shifting the perspective on it, and getting the fear unwrapped, and like, no, this isn't the gateway drug. This is truly a powerful healing goddess, God, source, universe, light giving plant, earth, mother earth
Yes.
giving plant.
I believe we should all worship this plant. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
I definitely believe that it is a huge part of spirituality. And so I'm really excited to see what comes next from you, and with you, and for you. And now I just want to ask you a couple fun questions. um,
Go for it.
so first of all, what was the last thing you searched on Google?
The last thing I searched on Google was, oh my goodness, I don't even remember. Let me go check actually. We'll see. That's funny.
Isn't it? It's so funny, because
Yeah.
you don't realize how much we check on Google until somebody asked you, what did you check on Google? And you're like, oh.
Oh, you know what I looked at? Actually, I looked at how to make a pizza crust out of cauliflower. I think I'm gonna do that later today.
Yeah, one tip that I can give on that, because at this point in time, I'm still learning how to do that. But the one tip I do know is make sure you squeeze out the excess fluid from the cauliflower.
Okay, I'll make sure I do that.
Yeah, as you grind it up, and then squeeze it with like a cheesecloth or some sort of cloth or something that you can do. Squeeze it out and then go about it, because that's going to make a huge difference.
Okay, awesome. I'll keep that in mind.
What's your sign?
My sign, I'm an Aquarius.
Every time I
Yeah.
hear Aquarius, I definitely am like, we are in the age of you, and I keep singing the song. So that's fantastic.
Nice.
What spiritual text or book or audio or anything are you listening to right now?
Well, I'm always listening to your podcast for one. And I also really love Manifestation Babe by
Oh
Catherine Zanchina.
yes,
She's
I love
amazing.
her. I know. I
Uh,
just did a screenshot that she made of her post on Instagram, and I sent it to Claire.
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring her up. I love
Yeah,
her.
she's cool. Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what like song or music piece is like really embodying Sabrina right now?
Right now, I am obsessed with, it's kind of an older song. I can't think of the name because I'm on the spot. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm trying to see if I can think of it.
Where Champagne Supernova,
Oh my God.
that song. Right now, you know, it talks about where were you when we were getting high, and it just gives me goosebumps, and I just jam to that at least once a day lately by Oasis. Yeah.
I love that song.
Funny.
Oh my gosh. And
I know.
I when I sing it, I am like singing it like loud
Me
and
too, like belting it to the world there.
wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, Sabrina, thank you so much for joining. I hope you had a great time. I had such a great time with
Oh, it was a
you.
great phone conversation. I loved it.
Yes, and everybody out there, definitely go follow Sabrina on her Instagram. Oh, where can people follow you? On Instagram, Facebook, where are you at?
I'm on Facebook. You can add me as a friend on Facebook. It's Sabrina Charron. I also have a Facebook page called Cannabis Infused Motherhood. And on Instagram, it's at Cannabis Infused Motherhood. So if you want to connect with me, go for it. I'd love to chat. You can ask me questions. I'll help you if I can.
Excellent. And you also are able to help people with CBD oil, correct?
Yes, I can. That you could click shop at cannabisinfusedmotherhood.com, and you can also visit my blog.
Okay.
Same link. Yeah.
Awesome. I know that she's helped
Yeah.
some of my friends, and so I definitely recommend. And if you have any questions, definitely about CBD oil and whether or not it might help you, just reach out and talk to her because she'll just chit chat and explain and share
Oh
with
yeah,
you.
no obligation at all. If I can't help you, I might know someone else who can. So
Yeah,
you never know.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Sabrina, thank you so much. I'm so
You're
excited.
welcome.
Everybody out there, make sure you follow her and definitely continue the conversation over on the Rising Goddess Facebook page. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Later.